Now we will see few more things related to the text properties. So decoration related things we have seen. Decoration related things we have seen. Just a minute. Yeah. So we have seen decoration. What do you mean by text decoration? And this is under this video, text properties 01. Text decoration. Now there are some things related to the text transformation also. Let me create day 13. And here we can say index dot not js, index dot html, and new file app dot css. So here HTML5, we can say text properties session 2. I have paragraph over here, and here we can say lorem ipsum, some.
Here you're not sharing screen.
Oh, just a minute. Yeah. If you can see this, I have simply created one HTML and the CSS. So here we can say link rel CSS, link rel CSS in the current directory app.css. We have what? App.css. Let's open this HTML. Over here, lorem ipsum, something like this we have. Now, text transformation means what? We can apply the class paragraph, and here we can say text transform uppercase. You don't need to write the JavaScript or anything else. By means of CSS, you can do this thing. Text transform lowercase, right? And text transform capitalize. Can you see every first letter would be in the caps? Can you see that? That is nothing but what? The capitalize. That is nothing but what? The text transform property. Text transform property. So in the text properties, we have seen a lot of properties like text color, sorry, index.js, index.js, app.css, text alignment related to the text color, right? Hello? So these properties, color, font family, font size, text align, text decoration, letter spacing, word spacing, we will see now. And here you can say text transformation. So these are important properties we have. Text transformation, we can do upper, lower, and we can do text upper, lower and capitalize by means of this text transformation. Okay, now whenever you talk about this letter spacing and word spacing, that are nothing but what? Text spacing properties. So today is the day 13th, and here we can use letter spacing. Letter spacing 16 pixel. Letter spacing, can you see little gap between each letter? 16 pixel, or here we can say 8 pixel, half of that 8 pixel, or here we can say 2 pixels. Okay, and now word spacing you can apply. Word spacing you can apply 16 pixel, gap between the words. Can you see? 16 pixel is the gap between the word. Now there is something called as a text intent also. What we have? Text intent. Text intent, say 50 pixels. Can you see 50 pixel from here? Indentation, gap in the beginning would be getting added, right? Now letter spacing we have seen line height, word spacing we have seen line height and 0.9. Here we can say 2.2. Can you see height, space between these lines? Space between these lines. Now white space property, white space property specifies the white space inside an element is handled. See, no wrap. White space, no wrap. Sorry, do not wrap it. If you say white space, if you just remove the white space, and can you see it would be wrapped? It would be wrapped. That is nothing but what the white space property is. Letter spacing, word spacing, text indent, line height. Line height. So here we can say word intent, line height, and white space, and what? White space. So these are some important properties we have. These properties we used to control the text. Word intent, starting pace. Indentation means this space. If you see, this space is word intent. Adds, here we can say, adds space at the start of the line, that is intent. Line height, gap between lines. White space, wrapping. When you say white space, the property is used to specify the space between the words in a text. Space between the words. White space property is used to specify how much space you would be needing. Sorry, white space. Sorry. white space is something different, and word space is something different. So white space property specifies how white space inside the element is handled. How white space inside the element, white space, white space, no wrap. If you see white space, no wrap, white space, no wrap. Can you see the white space? See here, won't be wrapped and it would be full text like this. Well, white space. Well, there is one more property, word space also. Spacing between the words, white space, word.
Okay, I believe you have already written 0.8.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Word spacing. Word spacing. Yeah. 16px we have seen. So white space controls the white spaces in the element. In the element. That is nothing but what this white space is. So these are simple notes I'm repeatedly saying, right? I'm also referring, whenever I get questions, I refer the Mozilla documentation, right? These are just notes. These will be helping you. So for in detail study or in detail reading material, you should go to the Mozilla document. These are the notes. So this is about what you can say the text properties we have seen. Text related properties we have seen. Now, one thing is remaining related to the shadow effects. One thing is remaining to what? Shadow effects. So what are the shadows? Just go here. Let's create a H3. Let's have H3 here, and here we can say CSS3 is good, something like this. CSS3 is good, and we need effect over here. We need some effect over here. So you can say H3 text shadow 3 pixels, 3 pixels. Horizontal shadow 3 pixels, vertical shadow 3 pixels. Refresh it. Can you see something like this? Something like this. And we can gray, give a color gray. If you see the shadow, which is looking like this, so here we can say 8 pixels and like this, and this also 8 pixels. You can shift the shadow like this, 6 pixels and 6 pixels, something like this. Or it is too much away from each other, just make 2 pixel, 2 pixel. Yeah.
Sorry, I just missed it. What are these two? Like, color is fine. After that,
Horizontal shadow, horizontal shadow, just make a 200 pixel. Now you will get to know. Can you see shadow is coming over here? Can you see that? 200 pixel horizontal shadow, 200 pixel vertical shadow, something over here.
first is horizontal, second is vertical, and third is color.
Color, correct. So here we can say 3 pixel, 3 pixel gray, and we can add the blur effect also, say 5 pixel, Can you see little blur effect we have added, and it is looking like shadow, right? So if we have font size 3em, okay, now you can see the shadow. Here we can say 5 pixel, 5 pixel, refresh it. See, now it is looking shadow over here. We have not used any CSS third-party framework, but we are using classical CSS3, right? And by means of this, we have achieved this effect. Getting my point? Hello?
Yes.
So these are nothing but what? These are nothing but what? Few text related properties. And let's add to the document text shadow. Text shadow applies shadow to text by supplying vertical, sorry, by applying where is that by supplying horizontal pixels, horizontal, vertical amount and color, like this. We can vertical distance and color, right? Text shadow. So that's what we have seen under the text shadow. Any questions? If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me.
No, no, no.
This is clear, right? Okay. Now, when you talk about CSS 3, when you talk about CSS 3, most prominently it comes with the selectors. It comes with CSS3 specific selectors, right? So let's talk about them today. CSS3 selectors. So first we will see combinators. Okay. Descendant selector. First you can say descendant selector. This is the first one. Child selector. Adjacent sibling selector. So these are the new things. Remember that. And general sibling selector. Okay. Now what are them? We will see shortly. These are kind of basic selectors are there, no problem. Okay. But by creating the combination of multiple selectors, few selectors have been created, and we call them as combinators. So let me push over here CSS3 text property.
Can you repeat like one more time the definition?
Yeah. I'll do that, just a minute. CSS3 text properties completed. I have posted. So when you say combinators, in CSS3, combinators are used to define the relationship between the different HTML elements. When selecting and styling them, they allow to target elements. See, they allow to target elements based on the position or the relationship to the other elements in the document structure. CSS3 introduces several combinators including below. So multiple selectors are combined. The ways of selections are combined. So we call it as combinators. Okay. So here I will go. And here we can say cmb.html combinators or combi.html and new file, combi.css html5 combinators, and here we can say link rel css combi.css. Okay. Descendant selector. What do you mean by descendant selector? I have this div, and inside this we can say para1, here we can say in div, or here we can say, okay, let's have a, here we can say div para1, div para2, div para2, and here I can say span. Inside that there is a p, and here we can say div inside that span, and then para3, and here we can say para outside div, outside, para4, para5, para4, para5. Correct? Right? So first selector, here you can say descendant selector, white space. If you observe div white space p, in between there is a white space. So what is going to happen now? Go to the CSS, and here we can say div space p, and let's give a color, background color aquamarine, and go here. Okay, day 13 combinators.html. Can you see here all the paragraphs inside div will be selected. Div, here I can write the note, descendant selector. What you are going to call? Name itself is suggesting descendant. Selector.
In the body we have div, in the div we have para, then span, and again para.
Correct.
But if you have, for example, in span, if you have div and then again para, it will be applicable to that as well. So it doesn't matter which layer we are having, although it's a para under any div that will get selected, right?
Yeah, see now, this is your question, right? So div span, again div, and para 4, correct? Refresh it. See here.
So basically, it doesn't matter like although we are using span or any other tag, it doesn't matter until we have answer that para is inside the any div, it will work.
It will work. Descendant selector. Descendant selector matches all elements that are descendant of specified element. Any level. Getting my point? Descendant selector. Descendant selector. Okay, so I will comment this guy, descendant selector. Sorry, so this comment is creating problem. So this is the descendant selector. Now I will copy this one, paste it, and I simply add arrow or greater than sign. Or what? Greater than sign. Now refresh it. See here. See what is happening. It is not adding color, background color to this guy, but it is adding background color to this guy. So wherever you have div and inside div there is a paragraph, the selector selects all the elements that are children of the specified element. If there is a anywhere, if div is having paragraph, so this thing is called as, this type of combinator is called as child selector. Now you got to know, right? Now you might be realizing why they have called the combinators. It is simply the combination of few things, right? We already have seen this is the element selector, this is also element selector, this is also element selector, this is also element selector. Nothing new. But they have given you few combinations.
So this is like if it's like direct child, then it will be applicable. If it's nested kind of thing, it will not be applicable.
To this P, it will not be applicable. But
yeah, because it's different tag, different element basically.
Correct. But to this, it will applicable because div is having paragraph. So that's what it is saying.
Direct relation div to P, there is no other element in between, then it will work.
Correct.
At any level. Yeah.
Any level. Is it clear? Child selector. Child selector. Now there is something called as adjacent sibling selector. Now what is this? Too fancy name. Adjacent sibling selector. What do you mean by that? So when you talk about adjacent sibling selector, just don't speak. We will type the code and plus sign over here. Adjacent sibling selector. So let's write it. Adjacent sibling selector. So name itself is suggesting. The adjacent sibling selector is used to select an element that is directly after another specific element. Now see here, adjacent sibling selector. What do you mean by that? So here we are saying div plus p. Div plus p. Here is the div, and after div there is immediately p, not inside. What I'm saying, not inside. So this is one div, whole div, and right after that div and this p are adjacent to each other, this div and this p. So it is expected that, let us see what happens. Go here, refresh it. Can you see fifth para would be getting background? So this is div, and after that div there is p. That is nothing but what? Adjacent sibling selector. Now here we can have one more div, and whatever you have, h1, h2 or h5, good one. And here we can have one more paragraph outside para 7, paragraph 7. Go here and refresh it. This is the h5, and here if you can see, after the div, wherever there is an adjacency between div and the paragraph, that is the plus adjacent sibling selector.
So it's basically it's defining the position of the element where we need to apply. So basically it's like div. I would say after div, if it's like if parameter is there, so is there, then apply.
Correct.
After div, if
there is a span,
another element will be there,
or
it will not get applied. Although p is available after that.
Correct. Here you can say ABC. Now after this there is a what? Ordered list, and then there is a P. Now let us see what happens about this para 7. Can you see para 7 will not work? So wherever there is wherever there is a paragraph immediately after a div, that is an adjacent relationship, and that's what the combinators define. In the CSS3, combinators are used to define relationship between the HTML elements. When selecting and styling them, they allow you to target the elements based on their position or relation to the other elements. P and div are related, right? Adjacent, they are adjacent to each other. Now, last one, general sibling selector, tilde. Now, what is a general sibling? Can you imagine what is a general sibling selector? By looking at all above, can you tell me what do you mean by general sibling selector?
Any combination like after div if we have something. Not adjacent in general, but
General sibling selector.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me.
General means like not specific, then we can like example after div, after that we are having paragraph as this. But
Yeah.
if you want to select something after div, we want like different element that's in general, not specific to a particular element.
Yeah, now see here. This is the div. This is the div, and plus sign says that this is adjacent to each other immediately. No problem. That's why I will select it. But this is not happening. Here this is not happening because this is not adjacent. Just go here and refresh it. Can you see outside para 7? Outside para 7 is not working. If you just add tilde over here, all the elements which are after this div, all the paragraphs after this div would be selected. Can you see after this div there are two paragraphs, both of them would be selected. After this div, in between there is a OL, unordered list, still it will select this. So if you add one more div, one more span over here, right, and here you add one more paragraph, para 8, still it would be selected by the general sibling selector. See now, para 8, general sibling selector. General sibling selector. Any questions? Look at the symbols we have used. So this is, sorry, the adjacent is this plus. These are the interview type questions. General sibling selectors, this tilde. Look at the symbols. Descendant selector is represented by white space. Child selector is represented by greater than sign. Adjacent sibling selector is represented by plus. And general sibling selector is represented by tilde. Represented by what? Tilde.
One question, like in my project, I saw as we are saying divs, like space, paragraph, and then they're applied. I saw somewhere like div dot para or something. So is this comes under this one? Or
No, no,
that
no.
is
That is something else. We'll see that. What do you mean by dot? We will see that. That is something else.
oh, I just wanted because it looks similar, so that's what I would say. Just wanted to check if you had.
Yeah. So these are the combinators. Any other questions? Let me push the code so you can see on your screen. So here we can say CSS3 combinators. Just go through the code, and if you get any question, go ahead and ask me. I hope you are checking the code.
Yes, yeah, probably next week will be completing the previous implementation.
Yes. So that is very important. Uploading your codes to the Git is very important, so that I also can check your code, what exactly you are doing. So if you want me to do your code review, I can do the code review also, but for that I need to see the code on the Git. And why Git? It's a professional utility, and you need to use that one only. Okay, now as you have asked that, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, I think.
Yeah, CLS selector. Well, this is not any fancy thing, HTML. and here we can say new file cl. You have asked that question, that's why I'm telling you cls.css html5.
Class.
Yeah, class selector. That is the normal class selector only, right? Now see here I'm saying dot uppercase, sorry, not here, I'm saying dot uppercase. So what you are selecting from here? So if you say dot uppercase, and here we can say text transform uppercase. So here you can say div and hello world, hello world, and here you can say class uppercase. Okay, here you want to say class uppercase. Now there is a one more paragraph, and here you can say hi, I am good, and here you can say class uppercase. Okay, and here you can go cls.html, hello world, hi, I'm good. Okay, css has not been imported, link rel css, silly mistake, cls.css dot forward slash current directory and this thing. So what is the meaning of this, technical meaning of this? Select the element whose class is, select the element whose class is uppercase. Select the element who is having class named as uppercase. Now what I want to do, I want to give a background color to this paragraph, or I want to increase the font size of this paragraph. What to do? So you will do font size, and here you can say, okay, let us see this works or not, 3 em. So both will become 3 em. I don't want to do this thing. Getting my point?
One question, like just so as of now we do have HTML and CSS, but here we are not applying any HTML in CSS file HTML or body, where we are giving defining something like this. We're not doing anything, and we are using or utilizing font size. How that is like getting applied, as we do not have applied the size to HTML body. How that is getting applied? How
See,
that is like 3 MB is getting calculated.
element size.
Yeah.
So whenever you say this, body is having some by default font size, right? It is not like that this would be having a 0 font size, correct?
So it varies based on the screen.
Yeah, it would be, 3 em is different from on the different screens.
So until unless explicitly defined, it will take whatever screen size it is,
Ah,
and with respect to that 3M will be there until unless we define some
specific, correct, correct. See, it is not, browser is intelligent, remember that. You don't need to tell everything explicitly. Browser understands the thing on its own, right? If you remove it also, let us see now, end tag you have removed and refresh it. Still browser will understand there is something called as end tag over there. You getting my point?
Yes.
So I have removed the end tag. Now I have added. So question is that, so what we are understanding, so this is the two uppercase class. So here you are saying that select the element who is having class uppercase. But my question, my concern is that I don't want to give a font size to this guy, this div. I want to give font size to only paragraph. I want to give font size to paragraph only. Now what you will do? So here you write something called as P dot uppercase. P dot uppercase, and here you write font size. Can you see? Only paragraph related uppercase would be getting selected and not this. That is the meaning of this dot.
Okay, this is how we override as well, right? Example, if we put font size
Uh-huh.
in the above uppercase,
Correct.
right? And no, sorry, the font size 3 here in the
Yeah, you are
uppercase
correct.
as well.
Here you can
And
see,
if
no, your understanding is correct. Here 1.5 EM, and you have overridden 3 over here. Can you see? Do you understand this? What is the meaning of this dot?
yep, yep.
So uppercase can be very much general. It is a general. This can select all the elements. This is selecting all the elements who are having uppercase class. But I don't want to select all. I want to select only paragraphs who are having uppercase. And then I need to apply some properties. This is the class selector, nothing fancy. We know class selector. So here you are saying that give me all the paragraphs. So it will not return you this paragraph to you. Remember that.
Right, because we do not have class.
Class, yeah. No class. No class attached. And if you refresh it, this won't be getting selected. Why? Here you are saying give me all the paragraphs. Give me all the paragraph to whom uppercase class is attached. So here you are saying that irrespective of the elements, whoever class have attached the uppercase class, give me that elements. And that is nothing but the difference between P dot uppercase and other things.
And like as you showcase the combinator and the class selectors, so we can use both combinations as well, right?
Yeah, no problem. So see here.
I mean, here in the class example, P dot of the case, and then example that greater than symbol or like that. Not type of the other symbol, I forgot the name, but yeah, the other symbols as well, right? Or the plus symbols here as well, right?
See here, I will use combinators over here. So div plus P means what? Tell me what do you mean by plus? Adjacent sibling selector. So it will select only this, right? And background color, we can say gray. Refresh it. Can you see? This is div. Hello world is coming from the div. Adjacent sibling selector. You have selected this thing. If you say tilde, both the paragraphs would be having that color. That is the adjacent sibling selector. Sorry, this is what? General sibling selector, not the adjacent. Is it clear or not?
Yeah, adjacent and that's clear. But I'm saying like how to add that. Okay, you can show.
How to
How
add
to add
means?
this class thing into the below one.
So this and this we need to combine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. General sibling, and let's create capitalize class P dot, or create the class caps, and text transform capitalize. Just a minute. Now, okay, class caps, refresh it. Can you see N is capital, C is capital, attached is capital. Now, after this, font size we can increase, say larger. And can you see it also, it has been changed. Can you see that? So I have written font size larger. Dot caps, let's give some background color, cadet blue, and color white. Remember that this is coming from the caps. Okay, now here let's try to change the background color to the gray, and here let's try to write p dot caps, and see here, can you see here gray color is getting added.
Okay, first we are using dev. Then okay, that is like general selector. Then paragraph dot caps is already available over there.
Correct.
So that one. So we are overriding caps as well in that case. Right?
So if I remove the caps over here, see what will happen. Gray color to the all elements, right?
All elements, right.
And here now this gray color would be getting removed, this gray color, because you are selecting specific P's.
Yeah, yeah.
Those
Not the
other P's.
Other P's. Specific, yeah, we are applying to a specific one.
Yeah.
Can you go back to HTML?
Yeah, let me push this code.
Okay, yeah.
CSS3.
There is a uppercase applied, so that is getting applied to first div and second paragraph.
Correct.
The second paragraph is having caps, so whatever we are writing, that is getting applied. Okay.
Class selector and combinator demo. Yeah, I have pushed the code. You may check it on your machine. Everyone
got the idea. So we can have the long things as well.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw it, I was not able to understand anything. Now it's making sense that how it works. But we can have lot many combinations.
Yes, absolutely. Right? Yeah, but applying lot of combinators would be a bad idea. It won't be maintainable for the other developers. So this should be short things. You should create the short things. Otherwise, whenever we are going to see this thing, pseudo classes and pseudo elements, you don't need to apply the general classes like this. You can select any element by means of the business logic, by means of some logical units. You can select any element by means of the pseudo elements and the pseudo classes. Okay. Any question? Just go through the code and you can ask me. I have uploaded it. Okay, so this much part I have intended to cover today. If you want me to cover any specific related to the topic, let me know. I can cover that. Okay. Or if fine, we can connect on the Friday. If there is any change, please let me know on the WhatsApp. Also, if I
one other, yeah, so from next week onwards, if you wanna like, if you're good, like you can end the recording and we can discuss.
No problem. Yeah, I'm stopping the recording.